Welcome to Child Safety, Victim-Proof Our Kids. Please download the PDF workbook before continuing on with the workshop. You'll want to have a piece of paper and something to write with handy for activities throughout the session. My name is Sara Beth Wald. I am a mental health advocate and founder of Redefining Love. This workshop is designed to teach parents and other caring adults how to prepare children to protect themselves in a rapidly changing world. Children and young adults are facing unprecedented vulnerability to dangers beyond our current realm of experience. Thankfully, there are ways to prepare children to enter the world with confidence, strong boundaries, and the ability to recognize when something doesn't feel right. By teaching personal autonomy, self-advocacy, and healthy relationship skills, we can help children navigate the world with greater awareness, resilience, and safety. In this 45-minute workshop, you'll learn what you need to know to prepare kids to safely take on the world when you're not around. Before we get started on child safety, let's learn just a little bit about what I do, starting with the Redefining Love framework that serves as the foundation of my work. Redefining Love is a cultural intervention model I created based on both my professional experience as a social worker as well as my own personal experience of recovery from complex trauma. Redefining Love is based on what I call the 3 pillars of boundaries, accountability, and grace towards ourselves and others. Redefining Love began in 2018 as a blog to process my own trauma recovery journey. Through therapy and research, I determined that my definition of love was flawed. I believed that to hold space for myself, to set boundaries around my time and my space, or to claim my own identity was selfish and mean. I believed that to say no to someone else, particularly someone I loved, was disrespectful and unloving. To complicate matters further, the people who required boundaries the most reinforced this idea through gaslighting, guilt, and manipulation. This lack of boundaries had completely depleted me body and soul, so I rewrote my definition of love to allow space for my own mental health within my closest relationships. This new definition required boundaries, accountability, and grace towards both myself and others. It's no surprise that as a writer, I chose to write my way through my trauma. What was surprising was how other people resonated with my blog. I began to receive requests to coach others on the framework. Eventually, it turned into a book, a TEDx talk, a full-fledged coaching program, and now a community-based mental health education initiative. What I do is not therapy. It is mental health education. I teach people to understand how their nervous system works, the purpose of their emotions, and how to prioritize their own mental health, all within the framework of boundaries, accountability, and grace. That's the short version of my story. If you'd like to learn more, you can find all sorts of information on the Redefining Love website at redefine-love.com. To get updates on upcoming workshops and other Redefining Love news, be sure to sign up for the newsletter on the website. Redefining Love has nothing to do with romance. It's about how we relate to others in all of our relationships, including with ourselves. When boundaries, accountability, and grace are in balance, we feel at peace. When these pillars become out of balance, we encounter relationship and life challenges. We achieve balance when we live with intention and curiosity. Boundaries, accountability, and grace provide a foundation of resilience on which to build a healthy life. If at any time during this workshop you feel overwhelmed or dysregulated, please prioritize your mental health. Step away, grab some air, and reach out for support if needed. If you are struggling with your mental health, please seek support from a licensed mental health care professional. In the U.S., call 988 for mental health emergencies and 211 for access to support resources in your area. By the end of this workshop, you will leave with a clear picture of what it means to be a safe adult, practical tools for teaching children about body autonomy, confidence in having tough but essential conversations about safety, and an understanding of how boundaries, accountability, and grace can transform the way we protect and connect with children. When we hear the phrase child safety, most of us think about physical safety, holding hands while we cross the street, using car seats, stranger danger. Those things matter, but true safety is much bigger. In addition to protecting children's physical safety, we need to provide them with emotional safety. Emotional safety provides an environment where kids feel they can come to us when something feels wrong. It's about the everyday consistency, trust, and respect that makes a child feel like, I can tell you anything and you'll believe me. This is the first of 3 activities we'll be doing during this workshop. If you printed your workbook, you can find space for reflection on page 2, or you can simply write your thoughts into a journal or on a separate piece of paper. Take a moment to reflect. What does it mean to you to keep kids safe? Please pause the session while you complete the activity. What does it mean to be a safe adult? A safe adult is someone who acts in the best interest of the child, believes children when they say something is wrong, and honors and acknowledges children's feelings. Acting in the best interest of a child means we consider the humanity and individual needs of a child as a separate and autonomous person, deserving of respect and the opportunity to grow into the fullness of themselves. Research shows that it is rare for children to lie about being harmed. Believing kids is one of the most powerful ways we can protect them. Being a safe adult also means practicing empathy, which requires that we acknowledge someone else's lived experience. Remember, children are experiencing everything for the very first time. What feels small to us can feel enormous to them. Having empathy for a child requires that we approach them with intention and curiosity. This is a big part of redefining love. Intention means choosing how you show up in a moment rather than reacting on autopilot. Curiosity means approaching others with a genuine desire to understand their experience instead of judging or assuming. When we approach kids with the intention of learning how the child is feeling and get curious about their perspective, we uncover what a child might not yet have the words to express. This builds long-term trust and open communication. Safe adults listen. They put down their phones, turn off the TV, and give kids their full attention. Listening to the small stuff, their video game stories, their endless questions, their silly jokes, opens the door for them to bring us the big stuff when it really matters. Safe adults are also consistent. That doesn't mean perfect. We all mess up sometimes. It means showing up when you say you will, keeping your word, and following through with consequences. Kids learn trust by watching whether our actions match our words. Safe adults avoid comparison, saying things like, "Why can't you be more like your brother?" or "When I was your age." This can erode trust and shut down communication. Honoring each child's uniqueness shows them they are valued just as they are. Safe adults create a shame-resistant home. Let's talk about what that looks like. First, create space for differences. No 2 kids are the same. Allow kids to be who they really are without judgment or comparison. Next, avoid conditional love and acceptance. Make sure kids know that your love doesn't depend on whether they meet certain standards, such as grades or behavior. There are inappropriate behaviors, but there are no bad kids. Next, celebrate their strengths. Don't just give your kids attention when you are disciplining them. When they do the right thing, make good choices, or reach a goal, celebrate it. And finally, love yourself out loud. Kids who watch their parents hate on themselves learn to do the same. Forgive yourself and learn to love the person that you are. Your kids are learning how to treat themselves by how you treat yourself. Shame thrives in secrecy and Grace, which is patience, compassion, forgiveness, These things help children know that they are loved no matter what. Establish a no secrets rule. Safe adults never ask a child to keep secrets. But why are secrets dangerous? Because secrets are used by dangerous people to manipulate and control. They might say things like, "Don't tell or I'll harm you or someone you love." Teach kids the difference between secrets and surprises. Secrets feel scary and shameful. Surprises feel fun and exciting. Privacy never includes dangerous secrets. Privacy is shutting the bathroom door when you use the toilet or take a shower. Privacy should be a safe space to take care of yourself. The thing about secrets is they can only control you when they are kept. Kids who learn how to share their experiences that feel scary and shameful don't make good victims because they feel safe to speak up, even if a dangerous person asks them to keep a secret. Kids who learn the difference between secrets and surprises know that secrets are a red flag. Here's how you can integrate the Redefining Love framework of boundaries, accountability, and grace into your home life, workplace, school, or anywhere you interact with kids. Teach and model boundaries. Boundaries are physical, emotional, and social. People should only touch our bodies with permission in ways that feel safe. It's okay to feel how you feel, even if the other person feels differently. And it's okay to place limits around who we share our time and space with. Saying no doesn't equal rudeness. It is okay to protect your time and personal space. Saying no in a calm, graceful manner is much more polite than saying yes when you don't really want to do something. Saying yes when you want to say no leads to resentment, which is not a loving way to feel towards someone. Saying no in a polite manner is an act of love towards yourself and the other person. Model your own boundaries so kids can learn by example. You can preach about boundaries all day long, but if your child watches you compromise your own space and time, they are going to do as you do and not as you say. Teaching kids that no is always okay if they feel unsafe and modeling healthy limits in our own lives protects them from manipulation from dangerous adults and peer pressure from their friends. Accountability and apologies. Model what it means to own your mistakes. Don't let your kids watch you blame others when you mess up. Apologize when appropriate. Adults aren't perfect. When kids see adults admit when they are wrong and apologize for it, they learn to do the same themselves. They also learn to recognize when dangerous people try to blame others. A very common tactic by predators is to tell the child that their dangerous behavior is the child's fault. A child who has seen their safe adults model accountability will recognize when other people don't. This builds emotional safety and teaches integrity. Integrity isn't just about being a good person. It's also a great tool for self-protection. When a child knows how to do the right thing, they also know how to recognize it when someone else is behaving dangerously. And finally, don't apologize for someone else's mistakes. As important as apologizing is when it's appropriate, it's crucial that we not apologize for other people's bad behavior. We see this a lot in abusive households. One parent makes excuses for the other parent's dangerous behavior. If their safe adults are willing to carry the burden of other people's mistakes, then the child will do the same. On the other hand, if a child is used to watching their safe adults set boundaries around other people's bad behavior, they are more willing to stand up for themselves when it really counts. They are less likely to accept abusive behavior from dangerous adults, and they are less likely to go along with the poor choices of their peers. Grace and forgiveness. The opposite of grace is shame, and shame is the root of all relationship dysfunction. Grace is love and patience for others and ourselves. When grace is balanced with boundaries and accountability, relationships thrive. Forgiveness helps us let go of resentment, but not accountability. You forgive for yourself, not the other person. Forgiveness is for your healing, not to let the other person off the hook. Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. Let me repeat that again because it's super important. Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. Let me explain. Forgiveness is something we do to protect our own peace. Forgiveness is connected to our respect for ourselves. Trust is something we give to others when they earn it. Trust is connected to our respect for others. It's possible then to forgive someone and still know that trusting them again is not safe or wise. In redefining love, sometimes it's necessary to love people from a distance. This means that although you have forgiven someone and you still love them, you must stay away for your own mental health. Sometimes that distance is across the room, sometimes it's across town, or on the other side of the world. Every relationship is different. Sometimes that distance is permanent and sometimes it's temporary until you can gather your thoughts and your courage to revisit the relationship. Give kids an example of positive decision making. When kids watch adults living with boundaries, accountability, and grace, they learn how to do the same. The best way to provide kids with the safety net that they need is to model positive choices in your own life. That means surrounding yourself with positive people, sticking up for yourself, and taking care of your own body and mind. In order to understand child safety, you have to understand body autonomy. Body autonomy is a person's right to choose who, how, and when someone else touches their body. Body autonomy is about choice. Who touches you, when, how, and how often. It's important for both kids and adults to feel like they have body autonomy. Kids need to see their trusted adults advocate for their personal space. If you notice a child seems uncomfortable with an adult's touch, be their advocate. There's nothing rude about saying, "Johnny just doesn't feel like a hug right now. How about a high five instead?" This teaches a child that they can say no to unwanted touch from others. This could save them from a dangerous adult when you're not around. This can be a hard one for some families, though. For some families, children allowing other adults to hug and kiss them is a sign of respect. Every family has to figure out the right balance for them based on their own family culture and habits. But it's valuable to hold intention around your child's personal space and don't force touch when they are clearly uncomfortable. Be your child's advocate. Kids need to watch us advocate for them until they develop their own voice to self-advocate. If you don't value their personal space when they are small, they will be less likely to value their own personal space when they are older. This also introduces the idea of consent, which is a crucial conversation to have with both boys and girls. Understanding consent could save your kid a whole lot of heartache later on, both with dangerous adults and with their romantic relationships when they are in their teens and early 20s. A good rule of thumb is an uncertain yes is a definitive no. Don't assume that your child is a good kid and won't be in an intimate situation. Do you remember being a teenager and a young adult? Yeah, I thought so. Model body confidence. How you treat your own body teaches your child how to treat theirs. When our kids see us practicing boundaries, taking care of ourselves with healthy food and exercise, and treating ourselves with respect, they learn to do the same. On the flip side, if kids frequently hear their trusted adults criticize their own bodies, obsess over their appearance, abuse substances, or see others criticize and abuse them, they learn to accept that for themselves. We talked about what it means to be a safe adult. Now, let's talk about what it means to be an unsafe adult. Unsafe adults harm a child emotionally, physically, sexually, or spiritually. They consistently violate boundaries, ask children to keep secrets, blur adult and child roles, and expect kids to solve grown-up problems. This includes the most dangerous adults who abuse children in the ways that we hear about in the news, but it also involves more subtle mistakes that can deeply impact children and families. This is where we step into some accountability, which can sometimes feel a little uncomfortable. I encourage you to keep an open mind and approach the information with curiosity and a willingness to learn. Unsafe adults don't always look like strangers lurking in dark alleys. More often, they are people children already know. Family members, family friends, neighbors, coaches, teachers. What are examples of grown-up problems that we shouldn't ask kids to deal with? Emotional support for a loss or a heartbreak. Finances or bills. Fixing adult relationships. And resolving adult arguments with other adults. Are you an unsafe adult? You might be thinking to yourself, I do some of these things sometimes. I'm not always consistent. I've asked my kids to keep things secret before. I've said, don't tell your mother or don't tell your father. I always make my kids hug their grandma. I cry in front of my kids and they have comforted me. Don't worry, you're doing just fine. There's no such thing as a perfect parent. My kids and my husband could tell you lots of times that I've made mistakes. The difference is the intention and curiosity behind it. What conversations did you have during those times? Do you tell your kids you're sorry when you flip out or mess up? What secrets are you asking them to keep? There's a big difference between asking a child not to spill the beans about a surprise party and asking your kid not to tell anyone that you're drinking again. Nobody expects you to be perfect. This is where the grace comes in. We all have bad days. What matters is that you're approaching parenting with intention and curiosity. And your intentions are to be a person of integrity your children can learn from and admire. And what if you are being emotionally unsafe? Maya Angelou said, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better." Most of us are doing the best we can with the tools we have. Those of us who grew up with childhood trauma didn't learn a lot of this information. You can't pour from an empty cup. That's why self-care is so important to redefining love. And by self-care, I don't mean manicures and spa days. I mean setting boundaries and allowing yourself the time you need to heal your mental health. Give yourself grace. You're here, learning new tools. You need to feel good about that. Take it one day at a time. There is incredible value in letting our kids watch us wrestle with hard truths and grow. When I talk about unsafe adults in this workshop, I'm not calling out well-intentioned parents doing the best they can. I'm talking about truly dangerous people, people who harm children physically, emotionally, sexually, and spiritually. Those who are not concerned with personal growth, who aren't living with intention and curiosity. Let's learn more about these folks. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, you'd have thought that there was a kidnapper behind every bush. We learned about stranger danger in school, at home, from McGruff the crime dog. It's certainly worth talking to your kids about how to stay safe when they are out in the world. But the stranger as predator is actually pretty rare, especially for kids with intentional parents who are involved in their kids' lives. But this wouldn't be a proper child safety workshop if we didn't at least chat about stranger danger. So let's do that real quick. Here are some common sense safety tips for kids. Help kids memorize their full name, address, and phone number by kindergarten. Teach them how to dial 911 from a locked phone. Reinforce that it's okay to hurt someone's feelings to stay safe. Safe adults don't ask kids they don't know to help them solve a problem, like look for their lost dog or help them find their keys. Teach your child to suggest to strangers that they seek help from an adult instead. The old, "I'm not supposed to talk to strangers" works well here. Find a safe adult. A mom with a couple of young kids is usually a pretty safe bet. They could also look for a security guard or store employee. If a stranger tries to grab them, teach your child to make a lot of noise. "This is not my dad," or "This is not my mom." And if all else fails, run or fight. A child only needs to do enough to stop the predator in their tracks, like poking them in the eye or one good hard bite on the arm. People who snatch up kids rely on blending in. As soon as a child makes a fuss and draws attention to them, they often just give up and take off. Now we're going to talk about the much larger danger to kids, because the truth is most children are not harmed by the boogeyman in the bushes. They are harmed by people they know. The reality of abuse is that 93% of children who experience sexual violence know the perpetrator. 93%. 59% are acquaintances, 34% are family members, and only 7% of kids who are harmed by adults are harmed by strangers. This is why teaching kids about stranger danger just isn't enough. Real safety comes from teaching kids body autonomy and creating a culture where they know they will be believed. False allegations of child abuse are extremely rare. Only 2 to 8% of reported child sexual abuse is proven to be false. When adults don't believe a child, it is often because the truth feels unbearable. But if we want to keep kids safe, we must always choose to believe them first. Here's another tough moment of accountability. Safe adults don't say things like this. That's probably not what they meant. That person isn't capable of abuse, but they do so much good in the community. How will this impact me if I turn this person in? What will people think? I can't deal with this right now. If your first thought when a child shares about abuse is any of these things, this is a you issue. There's that accountability. Safe adults own their stuff and they deal with it. If a child discloses abuse, the right response is simple. First, believe the child. Then, thank the child for sharing their story. Next, report the abuse to law enforcement. And finally, seek mental health support for yourself and the child. Let's dive into each of these steps because this is important. First, believe the child. It isn't your job to investigate, confront the abuser, or solve the mystery on your own. Let the professionals do their jobs. If the allegations are false, the truth will come out. If you aren't sure you believe the child, you can disclose that when you report it. It's not your job to decide what's true and what's not. If it's someone close to you, you are less likely to be objective. Just let the professionals handle it. Thank the child for sharing their story. Disclosing abuse is an absolutely terrifying thing for a child to do. They might feel guilty for getting the adult in trouble. They might be afraid the abuser will hurt them or someone they love. They might be afraid they will get in trouble because they believe it's their fault. They're likely embarrassed and ashamed that they let it happen to them. Reassure the child that they did the right thing and you won't let anything else happen to them. Report the abuse to law enforcement. I cannot stress enough how important it is to report the abuse to authorities. Your first priority should be to protect the child, not the abuser. Seek mental health support for yourself and the child. If ever there was a time to seek professional mental health support, this is it. The child is feeling all sorts of shame, guilt, and fear, and they will have to endure difficult questioning during the investigation. You also are going to need support. You may feel guilt, shame, or fear yourself. If the perpetrator is someone that you love, you will likely also be feeling betrayed, disgusted, and hurt. Reporting the abuse is the only way to truly protect the child. The justice system isn't perfect, but we tend to only hear about it when things go wrong. The truth is, the system protects thousands of children every day. Law enforcement, caseworkers, judges, and lawyers have dedicated their lives to protecting abused children, but they can't do their jobs if they don't know the child has been harmed. And one more important note, pay attention, because this is a big one. If the abuse involves an institution, such as a school, a church, or an organization, and that institution's response is to handle it internally, That indicates they are more concerned with their own reputation than they are the child. Contact law enforcement immediately. To report abuse in the United States, contact your local law enforcement or the National Child Abuse Hotline at 800-422-4453. You can also visit childhelphotline.org. Our Native communities have experienced a great deal of trauma when it comes to separation of their families. There is now an alternative for Native families to receive culturally appropriate support for domestic violence and abuse. For 24/7 confidential anonymous helpline for Native survivors and their loved ones, call 844-NATIVE-1. That's 844-628-4831. Or visit strongheartshelpline.org. For our next activity, we are going to consider who has access to our kids. You'll notice I say our kids. This is because it is all of our responsibility to take care of kids, even if they aren't our own. Not even one child should experience abuse or exploitation. Not even one. They're all our kids. Turn to page 12 in your workbook. Consider all of the adults that your child encounters in the course of a day. Make a list of all the people who have access to a child's personal space and daily life. This can be your own child or any child. Then consider if any of these adults in your child's life may need better boundaries. I'd like to note also that while you're considering those who need boundaries, if you feel fear rise up within you related to a specific individual, don't feel like you need to write down their name. If you feel unsafe in your own home or think you might know of someone who does, contact law enforcement or in the U.S. call 800-799-SAFE. That's 800-799-7233. You can also find 24-hour support at the National Domestic Abuse Hotline at thehotline.org. The Domestic Violence Hotline is also shown on the bottom of page 12 in your workbook. Pause the session here while you complete activity 2. Your list of adults that the child interacts with every day may look something like this: parents, step-parents, grandparents, older siblings, parents' romantic partners, extended family, family friends, babysitters, clergy, daycare providers, child's friends' parents, healthcare professionals, teachers, coaches, and neighbors. Think for a moment about who among these people are safe adults to the children in your life. Who may need clearer boundaries? What conversations might you need to have? Now that I've got you totally freaked out by the number of adults that your child interacts with every day, and I've got you really thinking about what little you actually know about them, let's empower you to talk with kids about how to stay safe. These conversations aren't always easy, but think about it. If you're uncomfortable having the hard conversation, imagine how the child feels having to be the one to bring it up. It is our responsibility as adults to step up and do the hard thing. We've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Next up, we will be discussing body boundary basics and tools you can teach your child to keep themselves safe. In your workbook, you'll find a word-for-word script you can follow in case you're feeling a little nervous about discussing body autonomy with your child. You can use these pages to guide your conversation. You can even read them directly from the script if you want. Please note, before having this conversation with a child who is not your own, be sure to get permission from their legal guardian first. If they say no, that needs to be respected. Step 1. Body boundaries basics. The first thing to do is to explain to the child what body autonomy means. Say, body autonomy means that you have a right to choose who, how, and when someone else touches your body. Step 2. Your child owns their body. Explain to your child that they own their own body. Say, your body belongs to you. Only you get to choose who touches your body. Step 3. Explain private parts. Explain to the child what private parts are. The best explanation for a young child is anything that is covered by a swimsuit. This works for both boys and girls. Say, your private parts are anything covered by your swimsuit. At this stage, it's important to not create shame for your child about their body. Everyone has a body. Our bodies aren't a secret, but they are private. And remember that there's a difference. A great way to avoid creating body shame is to tell them that their body is amazing, how lucky they are to have a strong, healthy body. Step 4. 4 reasons to touch a child. Tell your child there are only 4 reasons someone else should touch their body, including you. Those reasons are to keep you healthy, like doctors and nurses, to help you stay clean, like in the bath, personal safety, like when a grown-up catches you when you fall or grabs their arm so they don't run out into the street. And then good touches, like hugs and kisses, but only if they want them. Step 5. Good touches and bad touches. This is sometimes the most uncomfortable part of the conversation for grown-ups, but it's also the most important part. So, take a deep breath and forge ahead. Kids will take their cues from you. If you seem uncomfortable with this topic, your kids will be too. If you're relaxed, then they are going to breeze right through it. Explain that good touches are touches that the child wants to receive or that keep the child clean and healthy. Bad touches are any touches that the child does not want to receive and do not keep them clean or healthy. Let the child help you think of some examples of good touches, such as hugs, high fives, and handshakes. Then, let them help you think of some examples of bad touches, such as hitting or touching on their private parts that don't keep them clean or healthy. Step 6. Who touches your child's body? Help your child create a list of people who touch their body. They will likely say their parents, siblings, grandparents, perhaps extended family and friends, their teacher, coaches, etc. Ask your child if those touches feel good or bad. They will likely answer that they feel good, but be prepared in case your child mentions that something didn't feel so good. In most cases, this won't be a confession of abuse, although it could. Usually it's simply something you can keep an eye on and an opportunity to help your child set healthier body boundaries. Step 7. Are there any hurts that are okay? Ask your child if there are any touches that hurt that are okay. Almost always, a child's first thought will be vaccination shots, or for younger children, they may discuss bath time if they don't really want to wash. Again, this won't likely be about abuse, but it shows your child that you are a safe person to come to if ever they are touched in a way that they don't like in their future. This is also a good time to explain that some touches that hurt, like shots or washing behind their ears, don't always feel great, but they are usually quick and they are important to keep them healthy. Step 8. Secrets versus surprises. Teach the difference between secrets and surprises and define privacy. Secrets feel bad or scary, and surprises are fun. Encourage your child to give examples of secrets, such as mean jokes about a classmate or an adult who was scary, as well as surprises like birthday presents or surprise parties. Step 9. The No Secrets Family. Establish that you are a no secrets family. Privacy is an important part of boundaries, but privacy never includes dangerous secrets that can cause harm or hurt. Privacy means having your own quiet thoughts, feelings, and personal space, like leaving someone alone while they are using the bathroom or keeping a private journal that no one else gets to read. It does not mean hiding something hurtful that someone else did to you or someone else. Step 10. It's okay to hurt someone's feelings to stay safe. People intent on hurting or manipulating a child often play on the child's empathy and kindness by telling them that it would hurt their feelings or get them in trouble if they told anyone about their behavior. Explain to your child that it's okay to hurt someone else's feelings to stay safe. Provide examples such as if a grown-up asks them to keep a secret or a friend tells them they want to hurt someone else. Step 11. Establish that you are a safe adult. You can round up the conversation by saying this. If someone touches you in a way that makes you uncomfortable or asks you to keep a secret, please tell me. I will believe you and I will protect you. And those are the 11 steps to talking to a child about body safety. When we talk openly and calmly about our bodies and how to stay safe, we take away the power of silence and secrecy. And the amazing thing about having these conversations with our kids is it's great accountability for us too. We are more likely to take care of ourselves when we know our kids are watching. For activity 3, we are going to reflect on your child's safety experience. Now that you know how to identify safe and unsafe adults, I want you to take some time to reflect on your own children's safety experience or the children that you interact with regularly. Turn to page 17 in your workbook. Here you'll find some journal prompts designed to get you thinking about ways you're doing a great job protecting your child's safety and areas you could improve. Remember, safety isn't just about a child's physical environment. Safety also involves emotional protection from manipulation and unhealthy relationship patterns. Pause the session while you complete the activity. Talking about child safety isn't always easy, but if we want to raise strong, resilient kids, we have to be willing to get uncomfortable. The children in your life don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be present, consistent, and willing to listen. They need to know that they are loved without condition and that if they ever face harm, they will be believed and protected. By participating in this workshop on child safety, you showed up for yourself, for your community, and most of all, for the kids who are counting on you. Thank you for being here. Redefining Love offers workshops on a variety of mental health topics, including boundaries, forgiveness, gaslighting, conflict resolution, and much more. Watch for these topics to be available online in the coming months. For more information about Redefining Love or to register for a workshop, visit redefine-love.com. And please complete the online survey. You can find the link below. Your feedback helps me improve these workshops and is crucial for creating an evidence-based program trusted by parents, educators, and mental health professionals. If you loved this workshop, please share with your friends, families, therapists, and teachers.